Well, my last voice recording was 144, but it was kind of messy. But it was kind of an excitement because I like connected to, well, it's kind of a long story. Basically, whether we've tuned into it or not, or if you've tuned into it or not, there's been like a missing piece. This whole ascension thing, this whole spiritual community, ascension, awakening, things all over YouTube, spiritual community stuff, for the most part, hasn't really at all, especially like only in the past actually like couple of months or a few months or longer have things started to be brought forth that were more in alignment to a greater truth, which is more of a human truth, more of a grounded truth, which isn't so structured in this idea of having to be this, oh yeah, I'm totally I'm totally love and I'm totally light and I'm like my highest aspect or this and that, and you really need to listen to me, you should listen to me. But none of that was like grounded. Like there's so many spiritual leaders or whatever that were out there that were so 3D, still stuck in that way of being where you're representing yourself in this way that most people do in the 3D that makes them feel the most safe and make them seem and sound most confident, when they really, what really like would help everybody transition more into 5D would actually just be being real. And so suddenly like being real was still being something that people were like frowned upon, and this like being this false like putting on this like confidence mask seemed to be something that people were still following. But that's like those people's, that's like kind of their responsibility to not put themselves out there and claim to be what they were and claim to be able to help so many. Because if anything, if you are someone that is tuned in to these type of energies or whatnot, then your role is to master yourself, so much so, like deeply master all of your stuff, all the stuff you haven't even looked at, to make sure that you don't have any unconscious parts of yourself that will totally like run a lot of whatever you do. Because if it's unconscious, you want all of yourself to be conscious, to really be truly connected, grounded, and really tuning in, like sensing what and everything that's going on. It's like a huge, like intuitive, deeply intuitive thing. But so I feel like, yeah, there definitely something happened that totally messed with a lot, and people that knew what happened or were even asking for help regarding what happened were like somehow being ignored because their energy was not like representing something that felt like it was strong enough, probably because they were undergoing some type of attack, right? But why would these so-called newfound leaders or whatnot be ignoring the people that actually genuinely needed help? Furthermore, so this in 2015 is when there was a significant timeline that I knew wasn't supposed to happen. And I somehow, without any spiritual knowledge or any spiritual knowing anything, just through just me being me and having the privilege of being at the young age of 19, my dad helped me go to like put me in therapy because there was a breakup and I was 19 and I took a semester off college. So I did that and I put like my all into it. Like I put so much into it that I like really got into tune with what exactly like I needed to do in my day-to-day thoughts to feel like in the closest alignment to myself. Like, and somehow doing that and like processing some of those childhood traumas, but mainly like just having your emotional, mental, and your actions and how you do things be what you have to do for you, what's best for you. Like, you just pay attention to what feels right to your soul, so you get like very soul aligned. Did I have a clue that I was like literally my 5D higher self, embodied and grounded, or something that I guess no one else had done? No. So when I faced this attack, which the angels that the person I was working with, the angels said that it was only allowed to happen because there wasn't enough light on the planet at the time. When I faced this attack, I held like all that I was, my whole soul, my whole heart. I don't want to sound like overzealous. Is that the word? Like, it's probably not a good comparison. Like, I held all that you would need to, like all that I am, and the whole, like you can't break that. Or that's like what I knew in my heart, because that's another thing, is when you do that, you know, like deeply in your heart, these truths of things, like you hold this like very deep, authentic, unconditional love field of everything. And yet still I was like fragmented to shit. And I guess it was entities that were like messing around with possibly technology at one point or here and there. But what they really like to do is like kind of mess with people or experiment. And somehow I fell into this category, unfortunately. And I think that there were beings that had already been like around me a lot, right? Because I think I like had this mission that I didn't know I had. So when these guys did this, they probably, these other beings, these native beings at the time at least, that probably were afraid of like the divine feminine. I think that's what the angelic healer chick said to me. It was that they are afraid of the divine feminine, which kind of makes sense because it's just like a change. Even though overall, when it's all said and done, it's truly meant to be oneness for the negative ETs and for us, like integrating these parts. But that's where things went haywire as well. Anyways, so I think they influenced them a bit, and so they attacked myself and my mom badly. I mean, this is bad. I mean, this is like the worst feeling ever. I mean, to be your whole soul, your whole higher, and be fragmented like that, that's so hard as hell. I mean, like, your consciousness gets like taken from you, and not to mention they're not like in the physical, so like what we know better than to like call the cops or whatever. And I knew better because I knew myself so well that I knew that it wasn't something else, it wasn't something like psychiatric. So it was just like a very hard time. But there were a lot of like synchronicities and things that would come up to try to like kind of verify and that something was listening. And so in 2017, this same angelic healer that I was seeing, she posted a video on YouTube that the veil had lifted, and she kind of explained what that meant. And it was like, I guess it was the first time that God decided to lift the whole entire veil. And he said that humanity was 2 years behind their intended timeline. So when I felt that I was put on a timeline that I was not meant to, that it was like just not meant to happen with that attack in 2015, to get that confirmation that now God was saying, yes, it's taken, he literally was like, yes, it's taken some time to figure this out, to make sure that everyone would be okay by me lifting this veil, but humanity is 2 years behind. It's now 2017, so we're going to lift it fully. And he said, because there were important light workers at the time that were being so attacked so severely that they were just wanting to go home, wanting to die. Because if you get your whole consciousness like fragmented and taken away from you, you're like brain dead. So yeah, quite the journey. But this whole thing has turned into such a significantly huge there's things that happen. So since 2017, okay, people started to, like, I guess, wake up and come out with all this information. I mean, come out and say that they are this and they are this and all this information, and here I am being so severely attacked, thinking yes, they're here to help me. And so I try, and I spent a lot of money on a lot of the top-notch people for so long, and nothing worked. I only ever felt worse because I could feel how people were viewing and just sensing anything and everything I said or posted because of how badly I was being attacked, like, just like their judgment and not understanding. And that's kind of was like a hint to me a little bit. Like, maybe I didn't understand it at the time because I wanted this to be the answer, or I was fragmented, but that they didn't really understand what it meant to hold space for another, to truly understand another. Like, all that I really needed, the thing that I needed the most at that time, was someone to just hold space for my story and my truth and what was happening, not like that it had to fit their agenda and that, oh no, you just have to do this and this and you're fine. Because the truth of it, of how intense that attack was, and for me to be like literally my higher self fully, that's significant. I mean, no consciousness, etc. Like, there's no living. And the best of the best just kept thinking and telling me, or so-called, that's what they called themselves, the best of the best, that I just wasn't doing things correctly. And I could just feel how they, how I'm pretty positive everybody can sense how someone else is like viewing and perceiving you, and that affects you whether you're like conscious to it or not. So like, I don't like when these like people claim to be these huge spiritual healers and yet they're doing that. A lot of stuff bothers me about all these, the way that these people that were awakened by the veil lifting at this time, and how they handled it and what they ran with. Because I think there were way too many people that did not have all of the parts of themselves integrated and just like jumped on the bandwagon of like, oh, I'm supposed to help Earth fix this and fix this. And it's kind of crazy because what they were trying to fix was like almost the root of what had occurred with like me having been grounded higher self over. So I don't know, something that intense that because it was grounded, that it and fragmented that badly, that it affected like all of Earth too. And no consciousness, I mean, holy shit, you lose your life. Like, it was significant. But it took so much time for me to like realize and let myself realize that it really was significant. And I needed to, no one actually, I needed to, like, it's sad, but like literally, so over the years of how many people I tried to confide in or get help from, no one. And I was always ended up feeling worse. They always made me feel less than, because I guess my energy wasn't able to hold that like energy of the what I would hope I would be able to do, which was be my whole self, which I was before the attack, but like, God forbid, I'm still, and that's what I feel like I always innately knew, is how to actually help people, is to authentically and truly do that, hold space. Like, why are we focusing so much on something else? Like, if they're using their third eyes to see and like an attack or infringement, and then judging that and thinking, oh, this person's just infringed upon, she doesn't know what she's talking about, or are they just kind of ignorant to some things? Because there's something about when you do integrate all of your parts, you're truly connected. Well, I was 5D. I was the organic 5D. So that's when the inorganic 5D started. But I think it didn't get so bad until, until sadly, I kind of, like, I tried so hard giving these people a chance to help me because I thought that that was what that was supposed to happen, but that it never did. I was still going through horrendous, yeah. And then the pandemic happened, and that was like a sign for me. I feel that something was really off, and it might very well be connected to this. But yet I was still being attacked, and yet I still like needed some type of more information, because that's kind of a big deal, right? To think that your little attack, your whatever happened to you could really affect something that big in that way. And I don't think I really fully digested, like, yes, you were your higher self, this and that, because they were telling me that I wasn't. Like, no, you couldn't have been your higher self, and that happened. It's like, but dude, it was because there wasn't enough light. Anyways, I feel like so many people just like took whatever information they were channeling and like ran for it and like made money off of it, and weren't even asking the right questions, weren't even focused on solving the issue, just like putting a band-aid on it and not realizing the repercussions of that. Like this whole, like, it was like they then started to shield out, probably not knowing, shield out their darker aspects. That were meant to like teach them a lesson, that were meant to, like, it became a little too, oh, I meant to always be sovereign, and these negative beings need to get off Earth, and they're the evil ones, and like segregating society like this. There's half of like people just being evil, trying to infringe upon our sovereignty, which was like so not oneness, or it seems like, I don't know, they didn't have the experience of being the 5D, being of your 5D. They didn't have the experience of being the 5D self before the 2017 veil lifting, channeling craze, which being the 5D self before that, 2015, 2014 or whatever, was something that I did just through like therapy and really being in tune with my soul. I didn't need any of that, these words that have so many connotations now that they like the frequency does not match, and I swear it's just like it's like an overlay of like false ascension, and it like needs to clear. And as I've gotten stronger, I've worked hard on just that boundary that I was meant to hold, because I think I hold more of these aspects that hold like, no, you can't accidentally, unconsciously, basically take advantage of people by providing them this service that you think will save them, but ultimately is like not what is going to truly help them in the long run. Like, and it's like all of this information and these hints, as like showing me why and how this was happening with a lot of these prominent people at the time. I just kept getting like hints, like my guides or whatever telling me like, yo, look. And the big ones, like the pandemic, but the attack I was undergoing was like, I can't even tell you, like insanely severe. So Jesus, there came a point that I decided, because I saw something that was like they were posting, and it was totally blaming half of humanity for so much, for this inorganic timeline, and that they were full-on reptilians, and they had all these followers, and it's just like you're influencing all of these people, and they trust you, and you're not leaving anything open to like someone's own free will, or even like a miracle angelic intervention. I don't know, it's just like it was so not oneness, it was so not 5D, it was so in your face, this person does not really know what they're talking about, and it's not really helping people. And I've just been witnessing in humanity and in social media how bad things were getting. And I thought, okay, because my mind's taken over, basically. I thought, okay, maybe my story of my psychic attack is important, is significant. So I thought, I'm going to go into my heart. And I think I was like, I'm going to go into my I Am Presence and try to like communicate and say, like, and just like tell it from my heart. And from that on, I started to just do that. Go into my I Am Presence, my whole soul, in a like very passionate, like whole soul, like spreading love to all people that I felt at the time probably needed it, that were being overlooked, that were being not cared for because of the way that everybody was viewing things spiritually. So that's what I was doing. That's like what I would do to try to help clear and heal this, while also like, yeah. And it took a fucking year and a few months to do that, to fully freaking clear the 5D inorganic, man. And this was like not easy. It was still suffering, basically. Like, so people are just doing like Reiki things. Like, nah, this was some hardcore clearing in the trenches. I don't know. It's just crazy because it's like, it just ended up having to come back to myself, right? Maybe I should have focused on the fact that just the veil lifted in general, so there was more light. Maybe that was kind of hard to think about because of the attack and then these people. Anyways, here we are. It's been about a month and a half since it was finalized, because I really am in tune and tune into these steps and these messages I get when something has cleared and what is like. So this much is cleared. So this much is cleared. So I'd like get these updates that I would tally, and it would have to be 100%. Like it would have to be like 100% true, or else. And that's like something that I think goes along with like being more of that 5D in your body, self, soul, connected self, is knowing when it's 100% truth and knowing why that's so important. So the day came and it was like, okay, I and Earth are free. So it was like me and Earth, I guess, were holding this 5D, even if it was this like 5D higher self or whatever. Even if it was like inorganic, like we were before this happened. Now it was organic. Damn it. Sorry, guys. Now it was organic. But we held that. And I think what happened was, instead of shielding from, like, Earth innately held space for all of the beings on her planet, and I, having had integrated all my aspects, innately probably held space for all of the beings on the planet, and that mattered truly and deeply to me because the aspects of myself. So if certain dark aspects of myself or whatever were being infringed upon in any way with inorganic things or whatever, I could not let go of that, because once you feel that, once you integrate that, you're not gonna just abandon it. So it's like, I know there was like so much messaging, this shielding and shielding. For some reason I never was able to, because I was very sick, and maybe my guides really didn't want me to, because I also had the experience of having been my 5D higher self embodied before 2015 without any shields and it being fine. And so that like soul death fragmentation and whatever was continuing to occur for me before we reached that date near recently created a lot of shit. And I cleared, I know But I mean, I really did. And maybe it's because I was the person who did embody that 5D or whatever, and was the person that was fragmented, that knew like, okay, knew how to ask the right questions, and knew like, dude, I'm gonna like, knew how to, from my heart and soul, like fix things, rather than try to like do some like Reiki modality to fix it. Because I think this like Reiki modality and over focus on like the third eye and all these are almost too higher dimensional than what we're supposed to be doing. I think the actual timeline that things were supposed to be was more of a focus of Earth just gently going into 5D, just people gently having to align more with themselves, like I did. And because the energy work being in your body, your grounded embodied 5D, the energy that you do by just having your whole soul, like that, the energy and the thoughts and the way you think and all of these things go throughout all of people in Earth or whatever, and it's way more stronger than like a Reiki session. And also, don't forget the importance of like, so if anybody has like a native attachment, or there's nativity, or if there's parts or aspects of you that you haven't integrated yet, it's empowering to really get down to healing whatever is causing that. And yes, since the inorganic happened, there may have been some a little bit of a trickling down of some stuff that maybe wasn't so representative of like something that you needed to heal, in order to like just heal that karma that we planned to heal. But I don't think anything that intense. So the dangers of just shielding out these negative ETs rather than asking why are they acting up like this? Because something in my heart knew that we were supposed to those are like aspects of ourselves, and to just shield them all out and like almost disconnect them from even being slightly connected to source or something, when they're wired to, and they're not human, they don't have a whole consciousness, so they're just wired to do whatever they came there to do. So if they're being shut out, and the karma isn't being resolved like it was planned to, then it's going to show itself by them then creating like intense or harmful technologies. So people started to just think that they were just like evil and bad, rather than thinking that there was something weird that happened that caused people to then start to block out, disconnect themselves from these aspects that they needed to help. And like you don't have to be so like third eye cognizant of this. It's kind of just like a feeling or sense. I think like the of just when you fully hold your whole soul, like there's like that love frequency, that like unconditional love or source love field that you hold, that helps with that. I mean, it's hard to explain because it's just a different representation than when people are looking through their eyes and like, oh shit, I'm integrating this like legitimate like native ET aspect, rather than, oh shit, it's presenting itself as something negative or unconscious to me in a different way, in a more like in my human experience way. But that, I think, was not great, and it definitely shielded people. It shielded people from being able to see other human beings, because just like not, there was just like such a not well-rounded or whole understanding of things, to where then they were just like using viewing people or whatever and saying, oh my God, that guy or this dude is full of reptilians. He's a full on reptilian. Like, look at this. And then just like that's the worst person ever. So there was such a weird focus on not what we're supposed to be doing, not what 5D is about, which is this humanness, this focus on this humanness and your human experience of why and how we are so alike, and how we are all at a deeper level the same. We all have our vulnerabilities, and we all have, like, that's the 5D, like that actual vulnerability, that integrating those parts and allowing that to lead us rather than what we've previously had been told, that we needed to hide those parts of ourselves and present in a way that society would accept us, which is a lower dimensional thing. Well, overall, the missing piece is found, and it's like waking up, like drag. It's just it's beautiful. It was beautiful. They're just trying to block it ever since that happened. They're trying to block it and turn it into something else, but it's always still there. It's still there. Even if they try to block it, it's still there because I already finalized it and brought Earth and myself back on to the 5D organic, or what, to ourselves back on in the 5D organic on. And ever since then, everything can see, it's, yeah. Okay, I guess I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully that puts it all together. Why can't I'll just have to make a part 2 or something about what that means. Basically it just means like, because I'm trying to think like, oh, what can we do? I don't know, maybe just feel into your heart and feel what it might be telling you. And there might be like interference or energies that want to say no otherwise, which is, I would be interested in hearing if that happens to you. Because that might be part of these energies that are still floating around that don't want the truth to be represented, that don't want, for example, people that actually are more grounded and more interested in holding all of their aspects and all of the parts of themselves in a more 5D way, rather than the people that had been previously known as like the leaders. So yep, they're messing with my mind again, but it's fine. We're doing okay. I hope that this just like helps in general to be update, and let me know if when you tune into your heart about this, what it tells you to do, and if you feel that igniting of like this resurrection of all these beings just like there for like hell no, and like everybody, whether people unconsciously getting to understand and know that truth and working together. So filling those gaps for people so we can be unified again. And it won't be something that I think needs to be broadcasted for the public to know. I think it's something that definitely will just be like an unconscious kind of understanding that there'll just be a part of them back. And something that only a select few, there's like super involved like this into it, could know or should know or would help them to know. So like, yeah, dragons, deed, all this, but the organic version, not the false ascension overlay version. Be careful of that. Okay, all right, bye.